Native people, Native culture, Native knowledge. Hi, I'm Jeannie Green, bringing you award-winning Heartbeat Alaska.
Bringing you national and international Native news, this is award-winning Heartbeat Alaska, the premier Native voice in Native programming.
There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder, revolution is in the air. There's a heartbeat deep inside our mother. Are you too cool to
Now, with Heartbeat Alaska, here's Jeannie Green.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska, Native News and Native Information. I'm Jeannie Green. Thank you so very much for joining us. Heartbeat Alaska is produced in Anchorage, Alaska, and it's a beautiful winter day. As you can see, our environment, so very important to all of us, so very important to our Native peoples. And today we look at that environment. We visit with the Governor's Rural Commission on Rural Sanitation. We find out what's happening in rural Alaska in that area. Also, we take a look at pollutants in our environment. How are they affecting our people? Don't go away. It's a beautiful show. Hey everyone, help us welcome one of our new sponsors, Wave Wholesale Company, your one-stop supply source for village retail stores, food service customers, and government agencies. Welcome aboard, Wave.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by Coca-Cola.
Heartbeat Alaska is also brought to you by Alaska Village Electrical Cooperative, turning the lights on in rural Alaska.
Heartbeat Alaska is sponsored in part by Tudjaat Alaska Corporation.
Conditions in rural Alaska have been described as third world conditions. Whenever there's a disaster in the world, any place in the world, first aid, fresh water, and sanitation devices are quickly brought in. In many villages in rural Alaska, it's a daily process to empty the honey bucket in the village lagoon. A health-threatening situation. That is changing. Let's take a look at changes in rural sanitation in rural Alaska. The Governor's Council on Rural Sanitation recently announced that 2/3 of rural households in Alaska have access to basic but safe water and sewer service. According to the Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation news release, there has been a 40% increase in the number of new sanitation construction projects in rural Alaska this fiscal year. This increase reflects a new level of cooperation by village, state, and federal participants.
When federal and state agencies used to come out to my village and throw a piece of paper on the table and say, "Here, I wrote this, I know it's good, you know, it's going to work for you, believe me, it's going to work for you," without asking us, what do we think about this plan? Now, what I see is the federal and state agencies not only working together as a team to address an issue, but also bringing in local government to give them ownership. And when you do that, your chances of success are far greater.
I'd like to thank, and I recognize the cooperation that I've never seen before in this state between tribal or local government, state agencies, and federal agencies, and interagency cooperation and coordination, which I think is very important to the success of attaining the goal of getting rid of the honey bucket.
Getting rid of the honey bucket is exactly what the village of Mekoryuk, Alaska has done, as this video from the state of Alaska illustrates.
High on the windswept northern coast of Nunivak Island, the village of Mekoryuk stands halfway between the past and the future. For as long as anyone remembers, life on the island has been ruled by the sea, its rhythm set by the ebb and flow of Bering Sea tides. People live as their fathers lived, and their fathers before. Life has been hard, but good. In that way life is when lived close to the earth and to the sea. But there came a time when the people of Mekoryuk came together to see what they might gain from change. They examined the changes sweeping the modern world, looked long at new ideas to improve the lives of the people. What things, they asked, that we have always done could we do better? What new things could we do that we have never done before? They decided on two things: to improve the health of the people, especially the children, and to find ways to bring economic development to the village. At first, it seemed that these two changes were worlds apart. One had to do with health, and the other with economics. But the more they looked, the more it became apparent that both goals depended on one important change in village life. It had to do with the very source of life itself, water. Ever since ancient days, the village had obtained drinking water and water for cooking and washing from underground springs and from the rain. And they had returned their wastewater and the contents of their honey buckets to the tundra. Crystal Brand is a public health nurse who travels from village to village in southwest Alaska. She agrees that the old ways are not always the best ways, especially when it comes to sanitation.
We'll check her out and see how she's doing for her shots.
In most of the houses, they have a system set up where they wash their hands, after they eat or after they go to the bathroom. And oftentimes, it's not changed very much during the day. So, the whole day, the kids will be washing their hands and the parents will be washing their hands out of the same basin. So then the water becomes pretty contaminated and dirty, and it's never hot and it's never changed. So they don't have a chance to get rid of those germs on their hands. You can't do really good hand washing. Then the honey buckets, taking them out by hand, they have a really hard time carting those honey buckets out without spilling them. And kids are always out, in summertime. People like to go barefoot, kids especially. It's hard to keep shoes on. And if there is any spillage, the kids are in it. And even if it's spilled a little bit, there's probably ponds that it will collect in, or, like roadside ponds, I guess you might call them, and the kids play in and out of those, and that's probably a prime area for having a lot of that waste collect in those ponds. Most of the health problems that we see are a lot of skin infections with the young kids, and then impetigo's, which is a skin infection that a lot of the little kids get, is pretty rampant amongst the villages where there's not as much sanitation. I think probably the other bigger problem would be hepatitis A. There's a real chance of getting hepatitis A in the honey bucket villages. It makes them real weak and tired, just makes them really tired, wipes them out, so then their immune system goes down, and then they're more susceptible to catching the colds and the ear infections and the strep throats that come around, and then they get a lot sicker. That's one of the reasons they strongly recommend vaccinating in the honey bucket villages for hepatitis A, because of the threat of a fatality with your newborns or your little kids.
So the people of Mekoryuk determined they would do something to improve the health of their kids. They would find a way to bring pure running water into their houses, and they would find a way to eliminate the unsanitary use of honey buckets. Improving and protecting the health of their children was the primary reason the village of Mekoryuk began searching for a modern water and sanitation system. But it wasn't the only reason. The people of Mekoryuk have always been skilled fishermen and hunters. Recently, they expanded these traditional skills into a modern commercial enterprise. Bering Sea Reindeer Products is a company that manufactures and sells products processed from the reindeer and from halibut. A key to the continued growth and success of this important community employer is water. Fresh, pure, abundant water to wash the product. Without it, without a modern water treatment plant, commercial acceptance of the product would be doubtful, and the opportunity for dozens of local jobs would be lost. Luke Smith is manager of Bering Sea Reindeer Products. He's also mayor of Mekoryuk and a board member of NEMA, the local village corporation. He's among those community leaders who realize that economic development depends on a modern water and sanitation system.
Currently, what we're trying to do is we're trying to establish support here. And we've been trying to get this message to all the people that can listen to us and say, okay, it's a feasible project out here. And water, of course, is going to be very important for the port project, because there will be some fishermen that will be coming in needing water that is suitable for drinking. Boaters always need water. Not just the fishermen alone, but all the boats that come into Mekoryuk.
Like many other native villages, Mekoryuk recognized that tourism could have an important economic impact on the future.
Tourism, of course, is going to be very important here. Some of them like to stay in a place where there's running water. They like to take a bath at the end of the day. They like to have operating water and sewer system. And I think for us to attract tourists, we need to have a system in place.
And so the people of Mekoryuk decided to take a giant step into the future. But what kind of system would be best? One of the more sophisticated systems had been established in the city of Imanov. It is an above-ground pipe system, and it has changed life in that community forevermore. The piped water system was right for Imanov, but it just wasn't right for Mekoryuk. For one thing, it was far too expensive. People objected to the pipes running through town. It simply wasn't what the people wanted. City Administrator Jobe Westen remembers how the people chose a different kind of system.
What we ended up with is the flush tank and hall as you see it today. We have the best option to the conventional system, the piped water sewer system. And we're pretty proud of it. When a community works together, you can come up with some innovative ideas.
The Mekoryuk flush and hall system is an innovative alternative to the conventional piped water system. Several miles above the village, water is pumped from the river. The water then flows through a pipe into a reservoir in the village. The water then moves to a treatment plant where it is purified and fluoridated. From the treatment plant, the fresh water is hauled to the consumer where it is always available at the turn of the tap. Household waste is pumped from the kitchen and bathroom to what is called a doghouse outside each home. At regular intervals, the doghouses are pumped dry and the sewage is hauled to a fenced lagoon outside of town. From the consumer's point of view, the system is remarkably simple.
You just turn the hot water faucet on and your hot water's there. This flush hall system is a lot cleaner, less smellier, and it's very convenient.
The Mekoryuk system is so convenient that the consumer sometimes forgets the hard choices made to establish the system. It required the involvement of the entire village.
If we're to make an improvement in the village, we all need to work together. The organizations that need to come together are the village corporation, IRA council, the city council, because they are the key players as organizations here in the village. We always need to unite as a group, as organizations, so that we can make an improvement in our lifestyle here in this village.
Establishing the system was one thing. Paying for it, administering the system, and maintaining it is another.
The system has to pay for itself, and we're still in that process of trying to set a rate schedule for this system. When you have more units in place, you know the user fee will drop. Although we have a rate of $22.50 per haul right now, we're still looking into that.
The selection of operators is absolutely key to the success of the system.
It's very important that you have a very good operator, and I think mine are the cream of the crop right now. You have to pay the operators well to keep them working. The water plant operator has to know what they're doing because they use a lot of chemicals to treat our water. Should anything go wrong with the system, they need to be able to maintain it.
The Mekoryuk system has been a tremendous success and has had a profound impact on village life.
Yeah, I think with in villages where there is running water, I think you do see a lot less of the skin infections because it's much easier for the parents to bathe the kids. You see a lot less tooth decay because of the fluoride in the water when they're drinking it. And you don't see the raw sewage around town, or you don't have the smells of the raw sewage around town as well because of the flush toilets.
I used to haul water for my grandmother and my mother, my parents, when I was younger, and it used to be really hard. And when I got into college, you know, I'd worry about who would haul water for them. But then when I came back, there was a new water system here, and I didn't really have to worry that much. It's really easy now. You don't have to take the honey buckets out, and it's a lot easier than it was before.
Every time my kids come home after they play, I just tell them to go wash their hands. Go wash your hands. Did you wash your hands? Make sure you washed your hands right when you come in from out from playing out. And it's really easy for them just to turn the faucet on and wash their hands.
It's safe for the children. There's probably less hepatitis. Not that I've known of hepatitis going on out here, but I think it's much safer for our babies.
And I'm very thankful that there's been a change made in sanitation here in this community, because it's one of the things that we need so very badly here, for the health of our children, for the health of our elders, for the health of everybody. It is a healthier, happier village, I think.
Not long ago, the people of Mekoryuk gathered to celebrate the future. There was much to celebrate. For the first time in its long, long history, the village had a modern, clean, and efficient water and sanitation system. It had not been easy. There had been many problems to solve, many hard choices to make.
One of the keys of success is to start from scratch and to keep on scratch. Let's continue to try to work together so that we can all work as a unit. Let's all work together. We've demonstrated that over the past 3 years. And if we work together, if we all work together, we're going to go a long way.
The village of Mekoryuk is well on its way to the future. What this generation has accomplished will be remembered as long as the moon lifts the tides and the wind sweeps the shores of the Bering Sea. They have proved that people can do anything they dream. If they dream together, work together, travel the bold road to the future together.
And by Revolution Airlines, serving Alaskans for over 65 years. Thank you, Revolution Airlines.
Heartbeat Alaska is made possible with financial support from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alaska, providing quality health care service to Alaskans since 1957. We're here, we're with you.
Our guests from the lower 48 and throughout America and Canada stay at Executive Suite Hotel. Once again, thank you, Executive Suite Hotel. We welcome another new sponsor on board, Bristol Bay Native Corporation. A Native corporation dedicated to enriching the Native way of life. Thank you, Bristol Bay Native Corporation.
Hi, this is the Wonderful Works in Anchorage, Alaska. We're right here in the middle of the transit center. This is my wife, Sara, and I'm Glenn Tweet. Glenn. Tweet, T-W-E-E-T.
This week's Hearts Afire honors Wonderful Works Christian bookstore, located in the middle of the transit center on 6th Avenue in Anchorage, Alaska. In 1989, Pastor Dick Strutz of Anchorage Christian Center had a vision to open a ministry in downtown Anchorage. Using a big screen TV combined with biblical application of the Word of God, literally hundreds of people have changed their lives. Families have been restored, and hope has been renewed.
Witness Center for Jesus and a Christian ministry bookstore. What we're trying to do is show the people Jesus and get them to want Him, get them saved, get them discipled. That's our basic ministry. And of course, we know a lot of you out in the bush because we send you books and tapes all the time. We really appreciate your orders and helping us with our ministry and keeping it going. Well, we'd like to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Wonderful Works. This week's Hearts Afire.
Thank you, everyone, for your help in that story. And now for some Native music videos.
On ships that took us far away, sailing through the broken ice towards the shores of paradise, where they say our new life will begin. I can't wait until my ship comes in, landing on the edge of Ellesmere, wondering if we could survive here. We were told that half would stay, the rest of us were on our way. Will I see my family again? I can't wait until my ship comes in. Gaisita, sail on. I can't wait until my ship comes in. Our final destination reached, they left us standing on the beach, planted there like human flags, that winter's fury turned to rags. The hunters showed us empty hands again. I can't wait until my ship comes in. Gaisita, sail on. I can't wait until my ship comes in. القوم ينقلبوا سيبوا اللي بينيبوا أكسوا بالعمة إنو قسوا بسوتي تكسيوتي لو لابون إنا تقاقتيبوا كيسيتا. The story carries on. What's done is done, what's gone is gone. We must put the past behind and set a course for better times. When freedom's lost, nobody ever wins. I can't wait until my ship comes in. I think I hear voices in the wind, telling me my ship will soon come in.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us once again for Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Native Information. God bless every single one of you. And join me again, won't you, for more Heartbeat Alaska next week.